Hey people, guys. So my goal with doing this video is gonna be extra long. It's gonna be a series of videos. Um, I just wanted to talk to you guys about some stuff that like actually happened to me. Um, I grew up like in poverty. When I say poverty, my mama didn't have, my daddy. He had money, but a person with money always got to move. He gotta grind. He gotta peep out his money. So I rarely ever seen my dad. I rarely ever had fellowship with my dad like that and stuff like that, right? So I grew up estranged from my family. Back when we was in school, like went to school at Rosenwald Elementary. It's in a small town called South Bay. And growing up at this school, I did not know at the time that there were multiple things going on. I went to the school, see everything seemed normal, but our schools in our community was in warfare. And our school suffered many demonic attacks. Our children were suffering from demonic attack. I was a child at that time. I suffered from demonic attacks, demonic abuse. A lot of things were going on with me as a child that I still suffer to this day, going through these things and these attacks that were unfair to me. Um, Living in the area now, right now, I'm gonna be real with you. I moved from Belgrade. Now I'm back in that same community because it has the cheapest rent right now for me, and this is like what I can afford at this point in my poverty situation. So I was forced to move back to a community that I was demonically captive in. And now I still suffer because whether in Belgrade, South Bay, Pahokee, Clueston, wherever in the state of Florida I am, I still suffer from feeling rape situations in this matrix system that I have been put in, this matriarch system that I'm in, honestly. And it's abusive, it's unbecoming, and that's pretty much how my life started out. They talk about these Diddy parties, they talk about all this stuff, but they're not hitting it where it needs to hit it. So, growing up, my lifestyle was a little schizophrenic, a little parallel universe to me, of reality and what one would say illumination. Um, the seen as well as the unseen. A lot of times we would go to bed and we would sleep. We were asleep and we would wake up abused, like wake up black eyes, and they'd be like, "Oh, you got a store. You had a star in your eye. How did you get the star in your eye?" We wake up, collarbone broken. We can't even understand how do you wake up abused? I don't understand this, man. This didn't make logical sense. It's illogical for this to be like this. Obviously, I'm at such a low dimension in my life and degree in my life that I'm not comprehending what's taking place as a child. It's still taking place right now in adulthood. And it was crazy. It behooved me and took me aback so much to it was crazy. But I always thought like I'm a studier, so I'm the type I would get the dictionary, study the dictionary. Seriously, like my mom didn't even have to ask me. I wanted to study the dictionary. I want to be smart. I would sit up there. I would do certain things as a kid that other kids wouldn't do. Like I would teach myself certain stuff, and the enemy knew this. So I went through things where my mind was taken from me. I go through this now. Like I would do like certain activities, like nobody knew that I was sitting up there. I would teach the kids to go on IXL and Khan Academy and start their education back over for themselves. Like just blow through it. If you say you already know it, you can blow through it. And this was middle school kids. I was like, if you know it, blow through it. Go back to kindergarten and blow through them assignments because I want you to fortify your foundation. So I started doing that a couple of years ago and stuff like that. I paid for my own IXL. I paid for my own Khan Academy. No, not Khan Academy. I would send them donations and stuff like that. So I started sending Khan Academy donations when I was using Khan Academy and stuff like that. So I haven't completed it all yet, but I started working on that and stuff like that because that's the type of person I am. And in my adulthood, what God began to reveal to me is that there were people that didn't want us even educated. And that's some slave mess. So I went and I started working at a school, and I'm sitting up there, I'm working at this school, right? I got all kinds of stuff against me, like, but I'm working at this school and I'm seeing how they would allow bad children to stay in the school classroom amongst our kids to distract them. Like they would have kids that was disruptive. Their whole agenda is like the kid would sit up there and disrupt the classroom for no reason. And they got them in there to stop the children from learning. So I'd be like, nah, this kid got to get up out of here. And at some of the schools, they would tell me, no, you got to learn how to teach around the child. And you know, I'm a little old school. I'm gonna teach around him, all right. You gonna get him the hell up out of him. That's what you gonna do, cause he's not gonna keep preventing other people from learning. And see, they didn't understand that our way of teaching back in the old days, like when people taught us and we was this rule, our teachers is not gonna allow you to stay in that classroom with kids that are not this ruly. They say one bad apple spoils the bunch. So they're gonna remove you from the bunch, period. You can either get it together on your own and rebuild your own tree and grow a fresh fruit, or you ain't gonna make it, baby. Because you ain't gonna be amongst the ones that's trying to do the right thing. So this was originally our teaching. Like you have to be isolated, coached, talked to, and then they try to reintroduce you back into the classroom. If you cannot be integrated back into the classroom, they put you in a behavior classroom so that the other kids can progress and go on and do what they have to do. So I'm sitting up here in the schools and I started realizing that the same tactics that the enemy was using for us back in the days is the same tactics that he's using today on our children, but only they amplified it. It's like amped up a lot more. So when I was going to school, they would send kids to fight us, and we would have to fight while we were in school. Like you would be minding your business, ain't bothering nobody. You gotta fight. Guess what? I just went through a situation like this at work. Didn't do nothing to the dude. Had no issues with the dude whatsoever. Working for Sam's Club, Walmart people, right? And the guy, he came out of nowhere, just tried to attack me. He pushed me into the oven, burnt my arm. I'm thinking maybe he has like, I'm thinking maybe, hey, maybe it was an incident or something. Like the first incident was when he pushed me in the oven. I'm thinking maybe it was coincidence. Oh, you accidents happen. I know that And I'm not the type of person to be like all up on a person, like, real close to a person, because remind you, I'm still suffering through rape situations and this matriarch mess. I'm still suffering through physical abuse in this mess and stuff like that. So I really, at this point, am antisocial. Like, I don't let people like in my atmosphere, period, because I feel like everything is toxic, diseasing, and if you ain't a good person and don't get good vibes from you, I don't want you around me. So I really don't let that many people around me, right? So the craziest thing, the dude pulled the same thing they pulled with us in school. And guess who got fired? They didn't even really want to get rid of the dude. They called me in the office. I forgot to post that video, but I'm going to post it soon. Where they called me in the office, right? I'm sitting there in the office. They call me in there, and then they say to me, they say, Miss Brown, are you gonna be able, now this right after I wrote this man up for harassment? The man knocked all the stuff off, trying to fight me and everything, like, hit me. I'm like, dude, I don't have a problem putting my hands on you, but I don't know what your problem is, type thing, right? I will protect myself. I ain't got no problem putting my hands on you. I'm gonna protect me, type thing. They fired me saying that I did a spoken threat when I said I don't have a problem putting my hands on you. They kept this man employed because he was willing to work night shift after they made an accommodation for me where I did not have to work after 8 o'clock. Like, because the buses started run after 8 o'clock. And they was like, either you can work after 8 because they didn't have people to work for them. Like, I would come there opening of the store to closing of the store almost. I gotta leave at 8 though. That was my cutoff time. And sometimes I would stay until 9 if my bus come later. I'll stay until 9 or until my bus show up and just like help them out, just cleaning stuff. And they were still unhappy with that. So the guy, anyway, long story short, the guy tried to get me fired from my job with the same tactics that they used for us in school, with them coming at us trying to fight us for no reason at all. And we used to hard down have to fight at Rosemont. I had to hard down fight, and they labeled me a problem. They said I was so much of a problem that I should not even be allowed into public schools because I am so much of a problem. Every time I go to school, I'm fighting their children. And I'm so much of a problem when all I'm trying to do is protect myself in their system, like in their school system. And they know this, but this is the same tactic they're using right now in our present public schools. And I had observed that. So I'm sitting up there, I'm like, boy, this mess is getting crazy. But I wouldn't have believed it until I actually observed it. So I'm writing reports, right? We got little boys touching on girls. You like the girl. I like her. You don't touch her. You don't violate her. You don't disrespect her. You don't cause problems for her. Who the hell did you see do this? And that right there alone let me know, like, the men that they were in observation of in their lives was taught to cause problems for women. And this is how they date women. This is how they call themselves getting women. So they'll cause a woman to stay in poverty to try to get her to be what they want her to be. And I had to realize, like, I say, man, this is some messed up stuff right here because I'm witnessing it at the lowest degree, which is in youths. And so I'm writing them up, I'm writing them up, I'm writing them up. I'm like, these kids got sexual issues. Like, we really need to talk to these kids. Like, the kids will come on to adults and say inappropriate sexual things to adults. You have to put that on paperwork. I'm sorry. Certain stuff cannot be said around me. You is not going to tell me about all your little sexual stuff you do. You're not going to come around me with that foolishness. I'm a woman of God. Certain stuff you ain't going to do, little dude. And all this was going on. So I'm having to put this on paper. Nothing happening to these young men. I guess they're saying, oh, this is just a hormonal thing. And I tell this to people all the time. I said, what we have to understand, our young men are not just going through hormonal things. They're going through a whole bunch of other stuff that we have to actually help them cope with before they get out in our real world. And it gets 10 times worse, but we can't tell them that it's connected to demonic possession. We can't tell them that sin trying to rule over these young men and women and taking possession of the young women, because I can't tell you that even at Rosenwald, as a young child, they try to make young girls desire sexual things as youths. She's a young girl, they'll make her lay there and just let a man climb on her or a little boy climb on her, because guess what? You're seeing a little boy, but it's actually a full grown man taking advantage in our communities of children through other things. Like, we got incest going on in our communities, but they're not going to tell these people the truth, that sometimes the brother ain't raping the little girl, that the little girl getting raped by a matriarch system that she's blinded to, that lay her down in their lodge and allow whatever man who has a lustful passion to rape her. And they blame the little brother, or they blame the uncle, or blame whatever she can see, because she's suffering vision compromise, and whatever they show her is what they're going to blame, because first of all, they stole the offspring to begin with. They stole that child. They weren't even supposed to have access to that child, and they stole it. But guess what? She doesn't know that. She doesn't even know the system that she up against, because they didn't care enough to show the truth. So we got our kids in school, our young girls, he touching on, and he doesn't know how to express himself, because he's in a system that, because he's a man and they wanted men to rule over women and wanted the males to rule over females, they have taught them inappropriate behavior so that they can rule over them later. They don't practice that inappropriate behavior. They displayed it, got rid of it, exposed of the action, but because you still remember them doing that, how long it's been since you seen them do some inappropriate mess? They only did it long enough to trap you. And then they go to God and tell about they repenting when they shouldn't even have access to that type of stuff. They shouldn't even have access, but you're already caught up in it. You still suffering demonic possession. They was taught to fight off demons and cast all their demons on you as an innocent vessel. So you was already taught wrong, because the whole purpose was for them to lure you into a lifestyle that you shouldn't even be lured to. So, like I was saying, they done taught them how to get rid of their demons, like these older group men, how to get rid of their demons. So what they do, they teach young men to carry the demons and like to be demonic. Then they repent, and because they're people of God, they gain authority over the young people, but the demon's still there in them, because the demon know that they're going to redo this again, because they have to revisit it ever so often to maintain a certain position on both lines. So the demon only growing worse and worse, but they're given authority because they're considered repenting, and they really ain't. So this is the stuff that our sons are being exposed to, and nobody waking them up to the fact that sin wants to rule over you. but you must rule over it through following God's commandments. So all this is the reason why they tell our sons and our daughters them, no, church ain't for you. First of all, they're gonna make a young woman feel like church ain't for her anyway because they never wanted her to go to church to begin with. This is the God having truth. They're gonna make her feel like holiness ain't for her because they want her to be woe unto man. And that's where woman come at. Woe unto man. They want her to be a problem for mankind. And that's where the story of Eve actually is a betrayal of a woman. It's actually a betrayal of a woman because truth be told, they're not going to tell you that God is knowledge of good and evil. They're not going to tell you that God is the tree of life. They didn't want Eve to eat from God's wisdom, nor did they want Eve to eat from the tree of life and stuff like that. Remind you, it even sits up there and it tells you later on in Genesis, we have to remove them from the Garden of Eden, because if they sit up there and they keep going to God and obtaining life, that was that forbidden fruit, because the world was completely corrupt. If they keep eating from God and obtain eternal life, we will lose them. They'll be just like us. They never wanted them to be just like us. They never wanted them to be like them. They wanted to be gods over them. And that's all they wanted to do. They just want to rule over them. They didn't want them to have knowledge. This is why when God gave them knowledge, power, dominion on earth, they never wanted them with that. Remind you. So this is still the same slave system. They don't want you with knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is power. So they start young with our kids right there in the schoolhouse. We sending them to school. I remember I used to sit up there and I used to teach my son words every night. My son Patron, I would sit up there and I'd be like, come on, baby, let me teach you a few words or whatever. I would send him to school. When he comes home, he doesn't know those words. And they wanted to convince me that my son had a mental disability where he needs to be placed in slow learning classes. And I'm sitting here at home. I can teach him at home. He knows certain words at home. But how, when he goes to your school around you, he's going through demonic possession to the fact that he's dumbfounded? Something's wrong there. Something seriously is wrong there. I know it's you. I know it's not him. And guess what? Same school assisted with him, assisted with the court case where my son had to deal with issues of being removed from me. Same school assisted. But they ain't telling the parts about where they tried to hold my son demonic captive mentally. And they didn't have access to him like that because I kept reteaching him. And every time I sent him to school, he come home dumbfounded and come home stupid. They ain't gonna talk them stories. So I'm telling you right now, our kids going to school. When they go in them schools and they're studying in them schools, first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna have little kids trying to distract them. If they maintain being smart, even though they're being distracted, the next thing you know, they're gonna go through fight situations where little kids gonna be trying to fight them. And they stay in a fight every 5 minutes. The fight is so that the school can suspend the child and the child cannot complete his education, or she cannot complete her education. I went through this. I'm telling you, in elementary. You is not gonna put your hands on me, and I'm not gonna put my hands back on you. Don't touch me. Don't disrespect me. I was raised. Look, you hit me, I hit back. You touch me, I touch back. Only way I don't do this is if I think it's a coincidence. Oh, this is just an accident. And I have to program myself like that, because what people don't know, if you used to look at me wrong, we go into war just by looks. And my people's like, look, you can't function like that, baby. If people gonna look at you funny, it don't mean nothing, you know. And I even found myself going through pretty much the same thing. So listen to my people on, they was like, man, you just going a little bit too much. But a lot of people did notice. They weren't awakened to it. Nobody's talking about it. So any and everything going down. We sending these kids to school. Study your children. Study the atmosphere they're in. Because when they see that I teach my son at home, and you trying to label him with a disability, when I know I have taught him enough words where he should be able to pass any test that you give him. Mathematically, he should be able to conquer anything that you put in front of him, because he's being taught at home. He's not just being taught in your school system. But I was so unfit that you would aid and assist somebody in taking my child from me. And that hurt me to my heart. But these the games they play. So know what y'all dealing with in them schools. Another thing too, in those schools, I'm gonna be real with you. As a staff, you can fall into demonic possession. When you go into them schools, make sure you doing what you supposed to do, and only what you're supposed to do. I tell people this all the time. I worked in law enforcement, right? Working in law enforcement was different because I was corrections. So I realized that a lot of these people aren't going to get home. So I try not to be too overbearing and disrespectful and violate their space, because some of them may never go home. Some of them may never get relief from some of the situations that they were placed in. Unfortunately, some of them are innocent. And I will admit that a lot of these individuals, that everyone that's in prison ain't guilty. And life showed me that. I wasn't guilty of a lot of things, man. Them people sat up there and was trying to put all kinds of choices on domestic violence. I get jumped on. Dude punched me. I'm in the process of protecting myself. I go to jail. Domestic violence. Dude got away with per murder. And they assisted and aided him in that, saying that I had no right to defend myself at all. I'm supposed to let them just walk all over me. Know what y'all up against, because this is what's actually coming. And the men are supportive of some of these men are supportive of it. But what they don't know is your support of that foolishness that you supporting gonna cost you 10 times more. It costs. I'm not finna play with you. I'm gonna let you know it's gonna cost you 10 times more, because if you don't know that it's gonna cost you 10 times more, you can't sit up and say, oh, well, they lied to me. They ain't say it was gonna cost me this. Bruh, that mess you on gonna cost you. The price is steep. You ain't gonna wanna pay that tax. When I say the price is so steep to it's ridiculous, because you're gonna go through the same thing you sending everybody else through. You supporting this mess, you're gonna go through it. You supporting all this foolishness, you're gonna go through it. Same way. Same way you supported it. Women, there's women that's on the team for this. I sat up there and I'm looking at women in the school system, actually public school system. And these women, they have horse spirits. I'm gonna call them what they is. They're horse. And these women, I don't know if they voluntarily became horse. I don't know if they were forced into hoism. I don't know. I can just tell you I see the whole spirit on them. And they're around your daughters and your sons. And they trying to teach your sons and your daughters how to become certified whores. Honestly. And that's part of the reason why your kids don't have those spirits. Like, I don't know if y'all ever went through this. I have to be careful who I allow around me. Honestly, like, since I'm growing, I can't let certain people in my atmosphere. Because I can tell that you're under attack and you're being victimized and everything. Because when I touch you or your spirit is around me, certain things trigger in me, letting me know somebody has already attacked you. I couldn't tell you that one young woman, she was being tormented in school because her mom had spent, I think, I talked with the mom. The mom said, I spent 9 years by myself. And she rekindled a relationship. She hooked up in a relationship. She didn't rekindle, but she hooked up in a relationship. And because she hooked up in a relationship, the little boys came after this young woman like a pack of wolves. After 9 years of her being single, they came after this young woman like a pack of wolves, trying to force this young woman into a certain lifestyle. Honestly, trying to force her to date them and all kinds of stuff. And these stories go undocumented because how do I document something that I'm not even in complete detail about? The details coming like months and months apart. And I don't even know how to document this. I honestly, I don't, but I'm documenting as much as I can document. But true story, I'm not gonna even say the person's name. All I'm gonna say is that the young woman was, and I did document the abuse and I made sure I reported it to the proper people. But the person that came after her, who kept doing it after the other ones left her alone, it was one that kept doing it, and they refused to do anything about that one. And it became it's like, and I was like, look, either y'all can do something or I'm gonna do something, because this is what our kids are faced with, and all of it extended from home. All of it extended from home. Her mom started dating again. She was with somebody, and she started dating again. She had spent 9 years single. Girl, whole 9 years was prosperous. After the end of that 9 years, she started dating again. Them little boys came after this young woman like a pack of wolves. What type of mess is this? And I'm in observation of it. I'm like, what type of foolishness is this? I don't even know how to explain half the mess that I was in observation of that was taking place. And it just woke me up to, okay, man should not sleep with mankind. Honestly, it woke me all the way up to it because our kids are going into warfare. And see, a lot of times we're hooking up in relationships. We don't even know what's going on in the schools. I can't be with my kid in school. My son may be going through all out hell because I'm dating. Because I'm going to tell you something, women. We're dating, and we're dating a man that has been with other men. But he's not going to tell you he's been with other men to fix his problems. Some of us have dated men that was in prison. Some of us have dated these rapists. I'm going to call it what it is. Rapists. We dated them. Invited them into our homes. Had meals with them and didn't even know what we were inviting into our house. So this is part of the reason why I tell people, be careful, because we're sending our kids into atmospheres and schools that are set up demonically to destroy our children. And this is part of the reason why I was like, man, I want to get my kid to Christian school. Guess what? Christian kids that don't went to Christian schools and Catholic schools and all these good moral teaching schools laughing, saying we were doing the same thing that was going on in the public school system. So what you're telling me, there's no standard. for safety for our children, no matter where they at. Our young girls are being brainwashed into hoism because they got hoes for teachers. And when I say hoes for teachers, you thinking that I'm talking about something that's just for females. I'm talking about they got males that are pimps and they are whores teaching our children. They got the ones talking about they players. You are a whore and you're teaching our children. And they still live these ungodly lifestyles unknown unknown to us. And then you wondering why we're getting stories of our daughter in the school kissing the teacher. She in the school kissing the teacher and having sex with the teacher because this is what it go down to. This is what's going down. He can't hormonally tell your son nothing because he don't have hormonal control over himself like a man's supposed to. The women can't hormonally tell young women how to cover themselves because they have no discipline for themselves. And this is what's going on. How you gonna teach me how to be? How you gonna be a role model to me when you need a role model? You need somebody to role model after. How you gonna sit up and teach me something? You need a role model for yourself. We need role models for the role models. No go, no guidance, man. No guidance. And this is what's really going down. So now our kids are going to school. You got kids that are from church. They're good kids. They're going to school in demonic atmospheres because guess what? You've been sleeping around, that spirit follows you. You've been in hoism, that spirit follows you. But guess what? The spirit don't stay connected to you because it already got you. My innocent baby who I'm sending to school is what it want to connect to. My innocent daughter that I'm sending to school is what it wants to connect to. So now she dealing with issues because she don't know who she is sexually because you done had sex with another woman and she don't know who she is sexually and has lost her identification with her womanhood and her being a female. So she don't even know how to be a woman because she's docile out. And you brought that spirit there to that temple, to that school. But nobody talks on these things. So let me stay off of it because the next thing I know, I have a whole bunch of gay emails and gay bashing comments and stuff like that. Let me be real with you. I know demonic possession. I suffered with that same spirit, baby. I've been there. I can tell you a few things about it. That's part of the reason why I don't date. That's the reason why I got certain things on my television blocked. I try not to even watch too much scandal because if I watch too much scandal, they're going to try to bring scandal into my life. I create my atmosphere and I create my matrix. And at the same time, I realize as a creator, certain things I cannot allow into my atmosphere because it creates unholiness. It creates sin. And that same sin comes to me and got a nerve to want authority. And I have to put it in its place and say, you get none here. Know what we're dealing with day to day. It's because I don't need none of y'all hitting me up because I can tell you from personal experience, I went through it all, baby. I went through it all. I don't want a woman. I'm not gay, honestly. But have I went through the spirits that tried to possess me on that foolishness? Yes. I've been there. Advocated for gay people. Been there. When I realized what it really was, that it was a demon, and that basically we struggling with demonic possession, that it was somebody else trying to possess me, trying to possess you, abusing you, hurting you. They got none. When I tell you half of the young women that sitting up there sleeping with another woman, she's going through thyroid tumors. Half of the women that sleeping with a man, they going through the same thing. It was no difference between the gay women now and the straight women. There's no difference between a gay man and a straight man. They all sitting up there bleeding anally. They talking about a straight man got hemorrhoids. He had nothing stuck up there. What going on? But they don't care. They talking about the gay ones got hemorrhoids. They bleeding all over the place. You bleed sometimes for no reason. You're bleeding because you're being raped, and you don't even know that you're being raped because you're out of alignment with God. But then they say, "Oh well, God, the one who got to be doing this because he trying to force people to serve him." No, he's trying to sit up there and protect your ignorant behind from what's actually attacking us. This is actually attacking us, and the only keys that we got. I told you I learned why to love God. I'm telling you. The only keys we got is the Holy Scriptures. And guess what? They scatter Holy Scriptures everywhere. When I tell you, when you sit up there and they're going to tell you something, the Muslims attacking the Christians. I'm reading the Holy Bible. So much stuff missing. I go into the Quran. The Quran telling me what's missing out the Holy Bible. So I got two keys, the Quran and the Holy Bible. And I'm like, what type of mess is this? So how these two fighting each other? They trying to keep the vision between the two because the two is the key and they can make a master key. And nobody even knew it. So this was the game and the mindset from the beginning. So they start going with us. Know this. And they start to teach us foolishness at a young age so that we can think that this is a reality when it's not. People of God, be careful. Stay blessed. Hopefully these words encourage you. And this is part one because I'm going to part two because there's a lot of things I got to get off my chest that bothers me. Stay blessed.